Yes, sir. What's good, y'all? Welcome back to another edition of the Ubuntu Uncut. Ubuntu means I am because you are. And today, man, today, we got a great convo coming your way. We got a great convo coming your way. So I'm James Hodgkin. I'm the #1 empowerment speaker in the world. Let's get into it.
Yes, sir. Man, blessings. Appreciate everybody that's been along this journey of starting with us and been embedding like their energy and their time and their effort, just standing and all the support, man. It means so much, and I'm thankful for it. Let's get to it. Episode 4 now.
4.
Yeah, it's going by fast.
Yeah, man.
How y'all doing today, everybody?
I'm good.
Good.
Blessed, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna let that's my wife and that's my baby in there. So I'm gonna let her introduce herself.
Tired. My name's Chelsey, or Chelsey Ryan, C Ryan on socials. Yeah.
So so our conversation today is going to be on
A lot.
a lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot. Where to start? Well, first off, how is it to be pregnant? Like, I'm genuinely
straight up,
like,
It's tiring.
uh-huh.
I don't know. There's a lot that comes with it because it's stages for sure. Like the beginning is horrible because you don't have any pressure of the baby, but you have all the hormones and the sickness, and then you have this little moment of like bliss, which is the second trimester, and you're like, oh, I can do things, and I got the energy, and like sometimes you forget that you're pregnant, and then you're in the third trimester, and you're just like, I'm just done.
Yeah.
I can't breathe, or your guts are being shoved in different areas, but it's a blessing.
Yeah.
It's a blessing.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
Ultimately, yes, it's definitely worth it. It's just tiring.
Man, how is it for you?
I'm just here for the ride. Nah, it's just different. Like my role in the whole thing is different. Like, and it's obviously different with this being our second kid. Like, my thought process is entirely different than it was going into the first one. Because I'm gonna be honest, like with our first child, we were just talking about this earlier. I was like a lot more like lovey-dovey and like laid up under her type stuff.
Oh,
And
took
this,
time.
yeah,
So my whole pregnancy.
no, for real, yeah. And like this time around, it's just more so like, I don't mean it's in a bad way, but it's like, damn, I got another one coming. Like, let me
Right.
sharpen my focus.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, let me shift, like, because I know now what it means to be a provider. And it's like, bro, it's go time. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I guess I don't do that as much, but it's all for the intent and purpose of making this second child's life even better.
Oh, okay.
You know?
How do you find the balance of
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask.
still wanting to, to be that lovey-dovey side, and then at the same time, it's like I gotta get to it and grind. I got a whole tribe or family to get to, and I gotta put things in position and place.
To be honest with you, that's something I'm still trying to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, just being real, we were having this same conversation earlier too. This is for me personally, I'm not the best person at balancing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm just like very much on my brain is like, yo, this is what I'm doing and this is what I needs to get done.
Right.
And so, yeah, I'd be lying if I said we haven't had like some struggles in that regard. You know what I mean? But
Right.
Yeah,
I think being able to have like open, honest conversation, and I'm trying better to apply the conversations that we have as opposed to just having them and be like, all right, got that out the way. Let me go do what I was doing.
Bro.
You feel me?
yeah, that's different.
That was a
Yeah.
struggle for me in my last relationship.
Well,
We talked
thank
things
you.
out, but I wouldn't always apply it.
Yeah.
And
That's the biggest thing, really.
yeah.
Yeah. Because you feel like you accomplished something because it's like, oh, well, we talked about it. So
Yeah.
like we should be on the same page now. And like the action and the application is just so much harder. I shouldn't even say harder, but you have to be conscious of the other person's wants and needs, and you have to make those like a priority,
Right.
even if it doesn't feel like it is for you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And they have to do the same thing on the reverse.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
So can y'all give us the little backstory? 10 plus years in the making. Like, let us hear the love story, man.
She didn't even like me when she met me, bro. She didn't
He
even
was
like
a
me.
jerk.
I wasn't a jerk.
He was a
Yes,
jock. He was like a jock, just like a classic, whatever. I'm a ball player in college, and for me it was a lot different because I was also an athlete. Like I was a
Yeah.
volleyball player, so for me I'm just like, okay, bye, like whatever,
She didn't have to
you know what I
jersey
mean?
chase.
Right.
She had
Like
her
I'm
own
cute
jersey.
too,
Yeah.
like whatever. And so
When was the first time y'all met? Like,
in college,
okay.
Like
so
No,
where
bro.
And
and
hold
where,
on.
how,
Actually,
like-
no, this is
Like,
not
how,
an
where,
exaggeration.
like.
he literally remembers the very first time he saw me. I couldn't tell you when the first time I ever saw him.
Mm.
I don't know.
Bro, I walked in.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
I already had my sights set. I walked in. I was a much different person at this time, so I wasn't looking at her like, damn, that's
That's
gonna
my
be my
wife.
wife.
Yeah, that's wifey.
I had different intentions,
Right.
but
Right.
because I walked in like the first day during orientation, it was like in the gym, and I guess she'd already been there, and so she was coming out of the training room, like just walking back to her dorm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, me the whole time, I'm just like, I'm not thinking about class. I'm not thinking about hoop. But like, I'm looking for prospects.
Yeah.
So like,
This was your
I'm
first
just
time on
keeping it a
campus?
buck, bro. No, I had a visit, but this is when I like moved.
Yeah, this okay.
Yeah,
okay.
like so
yeah.
when I'm like move-in day,
Wait, which school?
at Livingstone,
Livingstone? Oh, yeah.
and so
HBCU.
yeah,
Okay.
and like, I don't know, like I just remember walking in and she was coming out of the training room, and she was dressed in her little volleyball gear and all that, and I'm like, yeah, that's happening. And I just turned the corner and went and registered for classes, and you know what I mean? But I always had that in the back of my mind. I was like, just buy my time.
What was the first convo?
Well, so it's funny because like we didn't really interact for like some months. Like it's all like it's weird explaining it because I feel like explaining it, especially from both sides, it sounds bad. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't like it sounds like y'all was just out here just wilding.
No,
but like
it's okay.
I'm
So,
Ubuntu
like-
Uncut.
Yeah.
Come on.
so like me and one of his teammates at the time were like really good friends. Like there was nothing more was gonna come of it. I had no intention on like being with him, but it was kind of like a friends with benefits situation. But we were really really cool,
Mhm.
and but I was also the type of person too, because you mind you, like he's what 22, I'm 18, so I'm like fresh into college, and like I wanted to have this freedom, but I also wasn't like fast. So like
Yeah.
if I'm messing with somebody, I'm just messing with one person.
Yeah,
really.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
really how I move. So anyway, talking to like or whatever, entertaining his teammate, then that kind of fell off. Then I don't know if what your intentions were, like if this was just like you're in or whatever, but he was you weren't talking. I wouldn't say he was talking to my teammate. But like there was this
We had
little
conversations.
yeah, they literally would just sit outside
chill,
and
bro,
just
just
talk.
kick it.
Oh,
But mind you, this girl is as deep as a puddle. Like,
Okay.
she's not. Whatever. So there's that.
She may see this one day.
Yeah, I
I'm talking
couldn't
about
care
you.
less. Yeah. I'm not gonna say your name, but you know who you are. But like, so that's kind of how he sort of, I guess, weaseled his way into like a
Bro,
friend
why
group.
are you trying to make it sound like I was finessing and scheming this
But
whole
I
time?
don't know, because
You
I feel
were.
like you look
I
You
wasn't
were.
though. I wasn't though, bro.
You
I was
were.
just
So, and
living,
then
bro.
like the
You know?
teammate that I had actually this is a different girl that I had actually gone out there with. Like we were both from here, went to high school together, played club together. They became like cool too, like they became friends, and so when I would hang around,
Just friends.
not like
Just
that,
friends.
yeah, that was literally just friends. She was a mess.
For real, just friends.
But like when they would all come around, then like he would slowly come around with them, whatever, and then he kind of realized like, oh, they're just on some bullshit, and I kept to myself. I was very much so like it just got to a point with my teammates where I'm like, y'all are really out here wilding, and like our school was so
Yeah,
small.
so small.
And there was like 3 guys to every 1 girl.
Yeah.
So there was way more guys than girls. It really felt like being in the 13th grade. Like it was just everybody was in your business. You couldn't move without people questioning what you were doing. So it just got to a point where I kind of like isolated myself, and that's just naturally how I am.
Right.
And he sort of caught on to that. So then he would like all of our rooms were all on the same floor, so like he would like come to my room, or like the girls, he would come to my room and like just talk to me or whatever, and shit like that. And then he like invited me to a party one day, and then I like brought my teammates with me because I'm like, I
I'm
don't
not pulling
like
up
I don't know
alone.
these people like
Yeah.
that. So, and it was like all the basketball players, and I don't know. I guess it just kind of like escalated from there. Like we just became cool. Like
No, we actually had like real conversations.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
actual like stuff with substance and
Yeah.
not just
yeah,
Not just
normal like
normal talk.
bullshit. Yeah, where it's just
Right.
like, so what's your favorite color? Like it wasn't that. And that's kind of what most of like my interactions with most of the females were there at
Yeah.
that time. And I'd be lying if I said like I didn't expect I don't know. I didn't expect that from her, and not just her, but I didn't expect anything like
Yeah.
real from
you
Anybody.
didn't
any
expect there to be depth.
especially the
Like,
females
Right.
I was talking to. I was just like, all right, like I know what this is. I know what type of
Yeah.
time I'm on. Like, let's just keep it a buck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't like messiness. So like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I needed somebody that like moved.
Stable and move like on her own.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
moved the way I
Yeah.
moved. You know what I mean? Like, and so it just kind of made sense. But this is actually even funnier to me though. So my teammate who they were just good friends.
There's no
Yo, so
intention
at
to
the
date.
at the beginning of the school year, right? We had this party on like an army base or something there, and the party ended up getting like shut down or something. I don't even remember what happened, or maybe it was just over.
You said
I
on
don't
an
know.
army base?
Yeah,
Yeah,
What
I
were
think it
y'all
got shut
on?
down.
Bro, it was
How
North
did-
Carolina.
It wasn't
bro.
being
It
being
wasn't
used.
like
Oh.
yeah.
It was like I
don't know.
It was
bro.
it was a gym. It was a big gym.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but yeah, so I ended up. I don't even remember how I got to the party first.
Oh my
off.
gosh,
I
yeah.
don't remember how I got there, but all I knew is I was riding with my teammate home. Like when everything like popped off, I was like, I'm getting home.
I
Like,
rode there with the teammate.
yeah, she rode there with him. I didn't. I just was like, yo, I'm getting in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, I'm getting the front seat. Like, I wasn't like a jerk about it, but it
Right.
was just like, yo, sit here, right? And then a bunch of like her teammates got in the car too, and she ended up having to ride on my lap the whole.
Like
the whole
I come
way
around
back,
to the
bro.
passenger side and I'm looking like, yo,
man.
no, because like there's two random people in the back. I don't know. My teammate's back there. She's wasted. Like it was just terrible. And he's sitting in the front seat, and I'm looking at him because his teammate's name is Tyler. So I'm looking at him. I'm like, the fuck, like you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like
I
yo,
rode
like
here
this
with you,
isn't.
like,
Yeah, like no, we need to remedy this, sir, because I'm riding back with you. And then it was funny because I feel like it was I don't know Tyler's like downfall because he's the one that suggested sit on his lap. Like we just gotta go, right? Whatever,
You
right?
couldn't come up with nothing creative?
And I'm just like,
I don't know. We had never had a conversation. I ain't do nothing sleazy.
Yeah.
well, we're also very big people, so it's not like we can just be like, oh,
Yeah.
let's scooch together. You know what I mean? It just didn't work. So I'm just like, but I'm pissed. And then it's so funny too because
I was having a great
that,
ride, by the way. I wasn't pissed
that
at all.
party was so hot. Like literally, we were all drenched in sweat. It was disgusting. Like that party was really gross.
Oh, it's one of them like.
Bro,
Yeah,
it was
a
like,
Kappa party.
bro. It was it was
We've
it was
been
a
in
Kappa
those.
party too. Like,
Yeah, it was a
Oh,
Kappa party. It
man.
was so gross. So we're all like very damp, and I'm like
Oh,
sitting
damp.
on his lap, and
Damn.
like and just awkward, just sitting there like okay, and then my it was so funny. My teammate like all of a sudden she's just like I'm about to throw up, and we're all like get out, pull over, get out the car right now, and we all like the moment he stops, we all just like disperse.
And that was it.
Yeah, and then after that, like I don't know, we just.
we had never even had a conversation at that point, but
But I guess
keep
that
in
was
mind,
sort of
day
like
one, I knew what time it was.
that was like the catalyst.
Chess moves. Chess
What
moves.
was the dynamic like of both of you guys being student athletes?
Yeah.
Like dynamic, like how?
Just kind of like, would you say propelled each other and help each other grow, or did you guys crash with like being in a relationship and being close? Of you got practice, you did this. Hey, I can help you with my homework. What you need, like.
Honestly, no. Like there was really never an issue. You just kind of knew what it was.
Yeah,
like,
everything was like offsetting.
Y'all
You know
had
what
an
I mean?
understanding.
I don't even think we really even, because at that point we weren't going into it, or at least I wasn't going into it like, yo, this is gonna be my wife.
Yeah.
This is, you know what I mean? Like I had all of the intentions of most 20-year-old dudes. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like, it was just, especially at that time of my life too, like it was literally like, it's this hoop shit, and everything else comes after that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so she would have practice, and then like we had practice late, bro. Like we would practice from like I don't know till like 10:30 at night.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So she would have practice first. I would be in getting rehab done and doing all my stuff, and then I would just go straight to practice, and then we would just link afterwards. And that's just what it was. You know what I mean? Like, so we didn't really have.
I mean, even when we started dating, though, I don't think there were really any like expectations. You just kind of knew what it was. You know what I mean? Because at this point, I think by the time we started talking, basketball season maybe volleyball season was like ending, basketball season was like starting, like around.
Basketball season never ends in college.
No, I know, but you know what I mean? Like it's just as far as like our actual seasons go, and so like he said, like we would practice first, and then they were coming in for like their like preseason training stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like one of those things where, especially as athletes, like you don't really complain about it. It's just kind of like this is what it is.
You guys
you're either on
both
board.
know.
Yeah, you're either on board or you're not. You know what I mean? Because this is where my time is going. You know what I mean? And like I said, the campus was so small. We're in Salisbury, North Carolina, so it's not like you just got all these other things to do. Like I knew where you were, you knew where I was, and we lived in the same dorm. So it's like.
And when I think about that, it's like when you have relationships, whether it's like girlfriend, boyfriend, wife, husband, is you gotta like have that understanding of like each other boundaries and each other lifestyles.
Yeah.
And I think y'all had it without even speaking on it because y'all both were athletes.
Yeah.
Student athletes at that.
Yeah.
So without even having that conversation, y'all was already on common ground. And relationships now, I think you will bridge out. You're going to have problems in a relationship. Things are going to come, but you can bridge out a lot of it if you just understanding your partner's, your significant other's time and
priorities.
space.
And even then, it was even easier because it's like, okay, we get mad at each other. Cool, I'm gonna go back to my dorm room. You gonna go back to your dorm room, and like, or we gonna go to class and have our time apart, and like, I'm gonna see you when I see you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, obviously times change generation to generation. What was dating entailing like back then? Like what did that mean?
We was broke as hell. Taking walks together.
Oh, we walked
Like-
a lot.
Really?
They used to call us foot
Yeah,
soldiers.
bro.
Straight
No,
up.
Really?
like, my
Who
coach-
started that?
You
or Chelsea?
We
I think it was
just
both of us. We were just like, we need to get off this little crappy campus. Like,
yeah, bro. It was
And let's
just like
just-
you just
let's
felt
just
trapped
walk.
in there, and it was just
Yeah.
like, yo, like let's just go for a walk, like let's go and just
Wow.
we would just like Google things, like what's around here? Where's this park? Where's this? You know
So
what I mean?
even in Salisbury, North Carolina, where it's nothing really out there, y'all still found a way to like
to make it like
Mm-hmm.
interesting as we could, bro.
That's
You know
right.
what
Yeah.
I mean? Because other than that, it was just like, all right, like what else would we do? Sit in the room and I don't know, smoke,
Watch movies
TV.
and
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was just like that's what everybody else was doing,
Right.
And I just I enjoyed being like in nature, you know
Right.
what I
Yeah.
mean? And it was also drastically different, like coming from, you know, coming from like Chicago to there. Because at that time, you know what I'm saying, like I was living in Chicago, so like just being in the city all the time, like I would have to go out of my way to go find nature.
Right.
I was in the country, you know what I
So
mean?
it was
like,
right there.
Yeah.
yeah,
It was right there.
country, bro. Like they shot scenes from The Color Purple around that area. It's not even
Yeah.
exaggeration, bro. It's
Yeah.
country as hell. You know, so I'm like, yo, like let's go walk. Let's go. I didn't have a car at the time, so we was
Y'all
walking
walking
to
everywhere.
movies. We was walking everywhere,
And
bro.
you know it's different, like especially like with black people, but you deal with like I'm not going outside. I don't want to go outside. I don't want to, you know what I mean? And we were both very, like you said, we were very in tune with nature. You know, me being from out here, like, well, one, there's this misconception that like, oh, Arizona's this small little like country state, whatever. Phoenix is one of the biggest cities.
Yeah,
in this
top
country.
5.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
top 5.
And it has been, even back then it was.
Yeah, even
Wow.
back then.
And so
We
I'm
do
like, I'm from, like, I know we spread out and I know we're in the desert, but like, I'm from a city. Like, this is not that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, like, just the luxury of like being able to go and like hike a mountain and then being like surrounded by all these trees. And I'm just like, oh my God. Like,
I love it.
Right.
Yeah.
it was such a culture shock. Like, for me, I did not.
She was,
I
yeah,
was
she
very
felt like
claustrophobic.
claustrophobic. I didn't understand it until I moved out here.
And
know
you
what I
kind
mean?
of you felt
And
where
you-
she was coming from.
Yeah, like everything is so open. You know what I'm saying? Like there's parts of, I mean, you could go on a hike to a mountain and literally see like the whole city.
Right.
Facts.
You know what I mean? You do that like back there, even like having mountains and stuff is just trees.
Yeah.
Right.
Trees everywhere.
And there's obviously I find beauty in both of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
grew
yeah.
up
For sure.
With with that, like the whole Arizona stuff is really like new to me. But now when I go back home, I understand.
You can
what she's
appreciate
saying.
it for
Right.
what it is.
Because it's
yeah.
like, how do I go from being able to see for miles and miles to like, damn, there's the trees.
Right.
Yeah, like there's a
tree.
whole
Yeah.
town right there, and you would never know because there's just like
It's
this
blocking.
little cluster of trees. You know what I mean? So that was definitely a different. But I was still that person that like, okay, I gotta be out in like the sunshine, because that's the other thing too.
Yeah,
Like
that's huge.
we have constant sunshine here. You know what I mean? So I'm like, all right, we were very in tune on that, and I just think that wasn't like a common thing with guys and girls there at that time. You know what I'm saying? Like people just didn't want to be outside for real. Like unless you're sitting there on the yard, but then it's like, okay, like
Yeah.
I can only sit in the same spot on campus for so long.
Right.
Yeah, and talk to the same people.
Did y'all feel like anomalies on the campus? Like
I've-
in the, like you fit in because y'all are sociable, y'all are personable, but
Oh.
you know you're different, and that's why y'all gravitated towards each other.
Yeah.
I mean, when I look at it now, for sure. Like I have probably 2 or 3 people that I still talk to from there, and it's weird because I've always felt like that though. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's that feeling of like, yeah, I can fit in if I want to, but sometimes it just feels forced, and then like I just fall back and I fall off the face of the earth for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
but no, for sure. I think looking back at it now, it's weird because I don't think we've ever had like having to recall it and talk to other people about it just puts a lot of things in perspective. You're like, oh shit, yeah, that makes sense. That's the
Yeah.
why,
For me,
you know, the why.
it always was. But I guess
Yeah.
it's different. Like not only like the Midwest is still kind of has its like countryness to it, you know what I mean? And then obviously like the surrounding like environment wasn't much different than what he's used to, like in Michigan. For me, it was a complete culture shock because not only am I coming from the West Coast to the South, I'm light skinned. You know what I mean? I'm a girl, so the backlash is a lot different for me than it ever was for him. You know what I mean? And then like the biggest thing I always got like, oh, you're from Arizona? Yeah. Why are you so light? It's like the dumbest question, on earth. And I'm like, we don't walk outside and like burst into flame. Like, I
Right.
don't know how
Yeah, I
you
don't know
think,
where.
where you think
Also,
this.
this is just my skin tone. Like,
Right.
Yeah,
I
I'm
know.
like, I don't know, my, like, you know what I mean? That, or like I had all my hair at the time. My hair was really, really long. So like, I was straightening it. Oh, you trying to be white? And like little things like that. You know what I mean? That like
yeah.
you constantly hear. It was definitely like a lot more challenging for me.
Yeah.
Chelsea,
Yeah.
how was the recruiting process for you?
For me, it was, I don't know, like it's hard to explain because I did it all pretty much on my own. So I don't want to say that it was hard. Looking like being a part of it now, like and helping other kids go through it, I can absolutely see like all the work that I put in. It was a lot. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
looking back on it and just looking at it in retrospect, like yeah, it was definitely, I did a lot. I made my own recruiting video. I talked to these coaches by myself. Outside of like my own club coach there trying to help me like navigate it, you know what I mean, and like set up maybe the little details, but other than that, like I did it all on my own. And it's just weird to think like even now for my kids, like for them to have to navigate that like atmosphere by themselves, like
Yeah.
that would stress me out, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I don't know, I think I did it pretty gracefully, you know what I
Right.
mean? And I had decent amount of people around me to be able to like talk about or ask the right questions and how I need to present myself and things like that.
What really made you to say, I'm gonna like make this happen. I'm gonna at least like make a step forward. I'm not gonna sit back here and wait and say, oh, I didn't go to school because my club coach didn't help me, my mom didn't help me, and all this. You went out and made the effort. What would you say switched in your mindset?
For me, it was if I don't get a scholarship, I'm probably not going to college. That was my biggest thing. And even whether or not, like, I didn't stay in college, but like, I at least wanted the experience. But I knew that if I didn't get an athletic scholarship, I probably wasn't going to go to college because my parents couldn't afford for me to pay to go to college. So that was my biggest push, was like, this is your way out. You know what I mean? Not that I was like whatever and stuck in some horrible situation, but yeah, that was my way out.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because Eve, would you say that coaches were, because like now in the space of how we coaching now is like these, I think the new generation think that all of these schools are just gonna hit you up. You have a 30-point game and you the best player on your high school team in Arizona or whatever, that you're just gonna get Division Ones, like just gonna be calling your phone like crazy. Like you have to, like, at the same time, you know, put an effort out and send yourself to camps, bro. Make your own tape. Email 100 coaches a day. You remember that, James, when I was helping you with that, of like setting up your email and you email all those coaches, and weren't they hitting you back?
100 coaches.
They were hitting you back.
Yeah.
Like you just gotta make the effort. Now, how was yours?
Mine was different, man. Cause like I think I kind of came up in that era where it was really before like social media like really popped like that. You know what I mean? Like you had like the first person's mixtape I remember seeing was like a Kill Car.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't. Not everybody had all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really do for myself, like obviously being involved in the industry now, I know much better for working with younger players coming up, but I wasn't making no tapes or nothing like that. It was just
You're also
somehow
big. Like you were, you know what I mean? You had the benefit of being.
Well, yeah,
like,
and that's part of it.
So much bigger than everybody.
That's part of it. Okay, apparently there's no talent there, but
No, I'm not saying that.
No,
I'm just saying,
But
like, you know what I'm saying? When you see a kid, it's even now, it's like you see a kid, it's like
The look
almost 7
test.
feet tall. You're like, dang, okay, I don't care if you. Can you drop step?
Yeah.
Like, that's all
mine
you
was
need,
my
you know?
my whole, and when I look at it now, I think it was, I can't give credit to anything other than God, because by no means, like y'all know, like I didn't play high school basketball. I grew 6 inches quickly, and somehow, some way, I was like just had people. Every step that I've taken, I've had people that like were genuinely there, like for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that. Like my club coach, even to this day, I mean, a dude's like a father figure for me. You know what I mean? Like, and so bro, I lived in this man's house. You know what I'm saying?
AAU coach.
Yeah, like, and it wasn't like he wasn't manipulating me or using me for nothing. It was literally just like, I see this potential in you. I want to help you like foster this and grow this. Like he introduced me to, like, I read Think and Grow Rich for the first time, like 17, 18. I'm sitting here, I'm like, well, how am I reading this book?
He gave me that book.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, but he just put this whole other idea of what it really like took, and I can say from there, like, from that first experience of him helping me get to prep school, like this man, even when I went to go visit schools, like this man would drive me, like, to go visit schools.
So you had somebody that really believed in you, man.
Bro,
and made sacrifices. You stand with his family, like,
yeah, bro. Like,
and he was like that with everybody. I mean, obviously, I only know.
But it was different. Like, he's
there's levels to it.
The thing that's like crazy with LJ is the fact that he has this ability to make everybody in his life feel like they're the most important person.
That's awesome.
In his life when you have that time. You know what I mean? But he even told me, he's like, man, he's like, I've only had, as far as letting people stay in my house, he was like, the last person who stayed in my house before you moved here was John Sally, who played for the Pistons.
Wow.
He was like, that's the room I was staying in was John Sally's room. You know what I mean? Like, he was like, that's the last dude I let stay with me. He's like, I don't really
really do this.
Yeah, I don't really do this, but for whatever reason, like,
I'm called to let it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, you
But
know
I
what
think
I
the
mean?
way that he cares about his players, like
It's different.
Oh,
like
bro,
that,
it's-
he is what Ethan is now to like his players. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, or was, or whatever continues to be.
yeah,
For the
Yeah.
kids
This is that.
today, what if they don't have that?
It really does. I mean, when I see it now, it does. It takes. You got to be proactive.
Yeah, you
with
gotta want it.
with everything you're doing, and hopefully you find, somebody that is willing to do that. Um, it's very rare, but I think it's also more so is about finding a genuine like team of people behind you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That like really rock with you. And I think
Yeah.
right now we're in this whole space of like perception over reality. Like everybody just wants to go here because I get these shoes and you know what I mean? Like
I get a blue chair, get followers. If I
yeah,
go
bro, and
D1.
that's really
Yeah.
what when I look at it now, like I feel like not everybody wants to actually they don't want to do the work that makes them a premier athlete, but they want all the perks that come with it.
That's
Yep.
a fact.
And so you can create that now. You can manufacture that through Instagram posts, through you know what I mean? Like you see kids all the time
And
post
live
like,
this facade
I just got this
lifestyle.
offer. Like, no, you didn't, bro.
Right.
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
They
Yeah.
invited you to a camp.
And I think
Bro, you got the
too-
same stock letter that they send to every kid in America.
and
bro.
that's
Like,
the
come on,
thing
man.
is that like people don't realize like really weeding through all of those and like navigating that. So like I know when I talk about like my offers, right? I got 10 volleyball offers, 2 basketball offers. But those were like the legitimate offers. You know what I mean? Like
real offer. They put
Yeah.
money on the table.
yeah, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And like we're willing to have you come visit or like, you know what I mean,
Right.
really talk to you and like see you as a potential
There's a
prospect.
big difference, huh, Chelsey?
1,000% because like I
Facts, bro.
started with like a Be Recruited page, and I know nowadays it's they have similar things or whatever. And so that like he was saying, like you'll get these sort of stock emails or stock responses,
And you
and you have to really weed through all of those. Like just because somebody reached out and they're like, oh, come play for blah blah blah, that doesn't mean it's legit. That could be spam. Like you don't know. You
or
know
they
what I
want you
mean?
as a walk-on. You got to be in debt. You got to pay $30,000.
Exactly. There's
you
always
may
something
get a spot.
with it.
Yeah,
You got to read, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even some of the other offers that I got, like, yeah, they were all legitimate offers, but I guarantee you, had I pursued like every single one of them, because my recruiting process was also very late. So, like, I was just like, who's going to give me the most money, right?
Mhm.
But, like, had I really had the time to navigate all of those and pursue all of those, I'm sure I would have been met with a lot of stipulations on those too. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But, like, these kids, like, they don't understand that. Like, that's a big deal.
And
you
some
know
of
what I
these
mean?
some of these universities, they have to meet a quota academically.
Exactly.
So if you're a high academic kid,
Yeah.
they're not offering you. They have to have that GPA for those that don't have the don't have the necessarily GPA to be in the program. They gonna come and scoop you up, not necessarily thinking that you're a great ball player. He just has a 4.0 and he can kind of hoop.
Because how does it's going to look amazing on their part if they're like, hey, I have this academic All-American.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like it really doesn't. And honestly though, I think that needs to be preached to more people. Because if you know that you're like a borderline kind, you better get in them books.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? Like whatever it takes for you to get your opportunity to get your foot in the door.
Play
Bro,
the system.
Yes, because
Yeah.
the system is gonna play you. You know what I mean? So like you gotta get everything you can from it, man. And so I think that there's too much emphasis on trying to become a 5-star and all this other stuff. There's not enough emphasis is placed on becoming the total package.
Yeah.
And
the
embracing
5-star
your
person.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and
that's-
embracing your personal own journey.
Yeah.
Like not having other people's stigma on you, bro. You ain't going D1, bro. You not no real hooper.
Exactly.
And
But
but
It's like,
that's so crazy, bro.
Yeah.
You know
Like-
how many, bro? It's dudes. I can't even lie. The best competition I feel like that you'll find in a lot of ways was when I played JUCO.
JUCO.
JUCO basketball is like I'm so happy they doing these documentaries
Bro.
because JUCO
grimy.
basketball is the most like it's the
It's
most
raw,
slept
bro.
on raw
Yeah.
like type of hoops like
yeah.
I've been a part of too
Yeah.
and I've seen.
It's crazy, bro. It's crazy because it's dudes that like I look at it and again, like I was, the team I was fortunate enough to play on, like everybody on that team for the most part were like D1 guys, right? And but when I look at it, when they left that program, I don't even know if anybody went D1, but there was multiple pros on that team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What
Like,
happened? What happened?
nothing. It was just a lot of them were just like the grades.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't have the grades. Like
Trauma, mental
mental
disorders,
health, bro.
mental
A couple
health,
of them is
man.
locked up now, bro. Like I would to
Yeah.
this day, bro. It's a dude, Marvel. This man, 6'6", had a 40+ vert, bro. Like was just a dog playing the 2 and the 3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That dude could have written his ticket to any school in the country. Moved back to Chicago, got caught up in just whatever. You know what I'm saying? He locked up. Like, but that's a it's a dime a dozen, bro. Especially, I don't even know if it was just the region, because like playing in the region around Chicago was crazy. You know what I mean? Like we played, bro. We played this dude who had just got out of Cook County. This man was 28 years old, bro, and had a 14-year-old son on the sideline. I'm like 18. I'm like, bro, me and your son should be checking up, bro. Why am I checking up against you?
Yeah.
But this man, you know what I mean? But like, you have to respect the fact that, all right, he went through all that and got out and was like, yo, like, I'm trying to make
Stuck
something
to it.
better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
But,
JUCO teach you a lot of how to survive,
oh, yeah.
how to live.
And that's the
Yeah.
other thing I think these kids don't realize either, is that you think that you're going into college and you coming in like, oh, this is the next grade, and it's like, nah, bro, you could be dealing with a 70-year-old freshman.
Yep,
You know what I
for
mean?
real.
And we've seen it. We had a lady in our dorm that was like
did.
70, trying to
did.
save everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I
For
mean?
real, she was trying
Straight
to say
up.
prayers for me all the time. I should
She'd always
have
get
took
people to come to
a
her
few more.
room.
Right. Yeah.
Should've
Now I
took a few
look
more.
back at it. I wish I had
Yeah.
those.
But
prayers.
just like things like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't realize, like, yeah, I come in and, you know, my captain is like 23.
Wow.
You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? You're just
yeah.
like, dang, like, I'm playing with grown folks.
Yeah,
You know what
that's
I
a
mean? And then
fact.
you wonder why, like, yeah, you're at this top program, but you're riding the bench for your first 2 years because you're playing against
You're not
grown
gonna take
men.
no
You
grown-
go back
yeah.
to ground zero.
Yeah.
You think you all high and mighty. I got this amount of followers. I was the all state. You go to JUCO. That's the everybody on the team.
Everybody is.
But
They
that's
just-
school, and that's school in general.
That's good. Yeah, that's what I was
You
about
know
to
what I
say.
mean? At
Yeah.
any level, like, it doesn't matter. Everybody was the best on their team in their town.
Right.
That's why you're all there. That's why you all got recruited. You know
Right.
what I
And
mean?
they just weed people out.
Now
bro, and
it's
that's
like
why-
who here, who
Yeah. That's the
really
biggest
about
thing.
that. Like
Yeah, because that's honestly, bro, that's the biggest, like, that mental aspect. Like, I'll say this to kids all the time. My first 2 months in college were, because I went from doing literally like nothing. Like, I always played sports, but I didn't really have like that, like the structure and all that stuff behind it.
yeah,
I went to a prep school that, like, we were good, but it was just like, all right, well, y'all go to the weight room if y'all want to go to the weight room. Like, I'll open up the gym if y'all want to hoop.
that
Like,
was
it
out in
prep.
Maine, right?
Yeah, yeah, but like, it wasn't structured.
Structure.
And I went from that to being at like a Division I program where everything was like run like clockwork,
You
bro.
have
Yeah.
to.
I wanted to quit every day. It was a moment every single day, whether it was in class, because we had this rule too. You had to sit. You couldn't miss no classes. You had to sit in the first 2 row.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And they better not catch you sleep. And they used to they would literally send like grad assistants or team managers
To
to
come
do
check.
class checks.
You played with
Particularly
Norris
for
Cole there,
freshmen.
right?
Yeah.
At Cleveland State.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but particularly for freshmen, bro. Like, and so I went from just kind of this like, oh, like whatever kind of schedule to like, bro, we had breakfast together in the morning as a team. Well, preseason, well, we had weights and individual skill sessions in the morning. So, and then we would have breakfast as a team. So like, you're up at 5. You know what I'm saying? 5:30.
Mm-hmm.
Just going straight into basketball.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And then we eat together as a team. And our coach actually did. Again, I was fortunate enough to play for a coach. Like, he played in the league. He actually is a public speaker now. He writes books and all that stuff. But he used to do this thing with us every day where, as we were eating, the whole team, he would sit down and have like just like a little conversation with you every single day. Like,
That's great.
what are your 3 goals for the day?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's not something every program
No,
does.
no,
You
no.
know what I'm saying?
No.
And we had leadership classes, like, so, but I think about that, and it was like he structured our day from 5 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. That was all just revolved around basketball on the team, and I didn't get that at 18. I didn't understand that. I was still I was so caught up in like, all right, now I'm getting invited to every party, all these females, blah, blah, blah. Like,
Right.
But
I
that's
was trying
literally
to
a part of
be,
you right
yeah.
now. Those experiences are embedded in you.
Oh, yeah. And I had to have them because now I can have honest conversations. Like, you know, obviously I haven't experienced everything in life, but I can have like some real talk with a kid that's struggling with the same
Right.
thing. You know what I mean? That's like, all right, like you're either gonna find out yourself or life is gonna humble you and sit you down.
Yeah.
And that's not the way I want. That's not the way I want anybody to have to learn because that's the things that I went through. But again, you're
It's
gonna be
their
hard
life.
headed. You're just gonna be hard headed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Chelsey, how would you say when 2022 we in and when you were playing in college, what's the dynamic like of women's athletics of how you see it, and do you think there's problems with it, and what's the pros and cons of it?
I think, I mean, in general, right, as just a female, like, you're always going to be like, okay, there's not enough emphasis on women's sports, like, especially at our school. I mean, my dynamic was a lot different. He had multiple experiences, like, going from literally D1 to JUCO and everything in between, you know what I mean? And so with me, I just had my D2 experience. Um, I think like, but again, like being a female athlete, like our coach was already crazy. So, but like trying to navigate that, like I don't know, like for them, they just kind of had the luxury, at least from my viewpoint, of being able to just sort of stand up and speak, and like people were gonna listen.
Mm.
And with us, it was like, no, you got to get your whole team together, and you all got to come in and like be on board. And it's not that we weren't all on board, but at the same time, like, yeah, we all got class schedules, we all got this, and now you're demanding that we come in as a team in order to prove or feel validated that like this person is a problem. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like we just had to work even harder for certain things, you know what I mean? And regardless, like not saying that like our record was like so perfect or whatever, but like they had their struggles too. Our football team, I think my freshman year won one game.
no, bro, they didn't.
One
They hadn't won
game.
a single game in like 5 years. When we got
Jesus.
They only won one, and that was the only reason why that coach stayed there because they were about to fire him. But
there.
like,
Bro, how low are your standards? Just get us one win.
but my thing is though,
Got a
no,
contract.
seriously, but like, and they still got everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
They
without
got more
question.
than we did too. Even like the basketball team.
It
It was
was-
new for me being at a
Yeah,
school like that.
like it was so ridiculous. So like, not only do we have to fight to get the recognition that like we just kind of deserve as athletes, not as a female athlete, but just as an athlete. You know what I mean? Because we busted our ass to get to where we were at too. But then just to be heard, it's like, no, y'all gotta like make a ruckus, and it's like,
Yeah.
man, it's
It's
exhausting.
exhausting.
What was the
Exactly.
stigma around female athletes?
It was just like you were just like the athletes that weren't just taking it serious. Like, yeah, you're an athlete and I respect you as that, but yeah, you're always a little bit less than. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like you're and that was definitely a tough reality check for sure. Because I feel like in high school it can be like that depending on your school, but generally you're all kind of on like an even playing field, you know what I mean? Or at least it feels that way. But yeah, in college they make it very, very clear who they like, even like little stuff like getting taped. They could go in there without question and go and get their ankles taped. Us, it was like, here's a brace. Just get a brace. Put on your brace.
Wow.
They didn't want to take the time to tape us. You know what I mean?
crazy.
That's weird.
That's
Like,
hella
Yeah, that's
And
so-
like our
Like, to-
trainer was cool. I loved our trainer, but yeah, she was not gonna tape her ankles.
like it was a girl too, or she was a girl.
mhm.
Wow,
What'd you say,
like that
Jenny?
doesn't even logically make sense to me. Like you're blatantly gonna go out of your way to make my life harder.
Exactly.
Like,
Because it was because
This is where I'm gonna allocate my time to. You know what I'm saying? It was very.
How would you say, Chelsey, that women now who are in these positions, how can they fix these, like, because you can't fix the whole, they're so deeply rooted,
Yeah.
but how can they
Take the
fix their
time, yeah.
personal experience and their own narrative in these situations?
I mean, I think it just kind of comes with speaking on these things. You know what I mean? And it's a lot easier now because obviously we still had social media at that time. It was only 2011, but it wasn't as like prominent. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
now maybe you'll say something on social media, but it wasn't going to get the attention that it does
Yeah,
now.
cancel culture wasn't a thing.
Exactly. Yeah, there's that. And then, like, especially if you have multiple people sort of speaking on it, nobody wants this negative attention. Nobody wants that, like, backlash. So it's just like, okay, well, let me listen to what you have to say. You know what I mean? So, but it's really just like speaking up on stuff like that and understanding, like, yeah, there's risks that come with it, but at the same time, there's so many schools. There's so many schools. There's so many opportunities. And I think being afraid to sort of speak on really what you believe in or what you know to be right isn't going to get you anywhere. Like, you're doing yourself and you're doing the people that come after you a disservice by, like, kind of keeping that in. And I absolutely understand why, because nobody wants to get pushed to the back burner. Nobody wants to be dismissed. Like, okay, you're causing too much of, like, an issue. But keep doing it. Like, that never,
Like,
you know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna
like,
keep voicing, like,
yeah, be loud, be heard, you know what I mean?
But the
like,
control system, they want you to just stay in your place.
Yeah.
I mean, until it's trendy to move otherwise. Like, I look at it now, and I think it's awesome. Like, the movement that's being made with women's sports. But I could be I could be completely off base. This is just my opinion, though. I think Kobe's passing was the catalyst for that.
Because Gigi?
Yeah.
Because and I'm just,
And his
again, I'm not, I
support.
guess I wasn't paying close enough attention like to the timeline of all that. But like, because of all the work he was doing within women's sports, and he was working with WNBA players and all that kind of stuff, like, really think about it, bro. Like,
Yeah.
were we really talking about WNBA players before that, for real?
No.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then when that happened, it was like, oh, this is what he was trying to do. This is what Gigi could have been. This is blah, blah, blah. And now you got NBA players wearing WNBA, you know what I'm saying?
The orange hoodie.
Yeah, that's wearing their stuff and like all that other stuff, and it's cool. Like, I'm fortunate that had to be the catalyst, but it also is even weird from like a societal standpoint. Like, okay, a man had to die for you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
For us to pay attention to.
And I love how it's
More
big
women's
socially impact like the WNBA is.
Yeah.
And NCAA too.
Because
with
they're like fighting for. When I look at it now, especially most of us as athletes, bro, like, we're catered to throughout as men in general in comparison to women. Like, we're catered to, bro. Like,
Yeah.
our experiences are always different because you have this talent. Yeah. And so there were things
1000%.
that we just got that, like,
From
I didn't really think of.
everybody.
Yeah.
From everybody, down to the people in the calf, literally all the way up to your coaches.
Man, that was my thing.
And
Yeah, bro. I
everything.
used to have the calf ladies making me a
Oh
play, 'cause
my
it'll be closed by
God,
the
that's
time you
the
gotta
first
practice,
person
bro.
I got
Yup.
cool with at every school I was at.
Because you gotta know how to
Bro,
maneuver that
you
space.
got
But
to.
you know how many times like I come
Yeah.
in, mind you, our uniform is literally like a fitted shirt and spandex. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, at HBCU, you're around a bunch of black women, like we're thick. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, whatever. There's something, we have curves. And how many times they've been like, oh, your shorts are too short. I just came from practice, bro. I'm wearing my uniform. What are you talking about?
Wow.
Like, you know what I mean? And
Meanwhile,
having to
we'll
like,
have people walk in shirts off, bro. Like,
yeah, and just having to
Just
like,
not even-
like sit there and like
Don't
convince
care.
them,
Don't
like,
care,
bro,
bro.
I'm not about to go all the way back to my dorm down this hill to go put on whatever you think is appropriate
And then
to
come
come back,
all the
hop
way
in
back.
line and get in food, and then there's not gonna, to get food, and then there's not gonna be what I want left. Like, no.
Right.
So having to like fight with people just to get into calf, like stupid stuff like that, you know what I mean? Like, that these dudes just don't ever have to deal with.
Yeah, and I feel like something that I learned from growing up with all women is, if you get super clear on that vision, super clear on what you want, and then find outside groups from the direct impacted cause and get them to buy in, man, like, you're going to see countless
So you
support, and
saying
you're gonna see countless
Yeah.
Help them
push.
propel their
Yeah, like,
voice.
Oh, yeah.
yes, because like I feel like, okay, let's use Chelsea and Big E for an example. Like, if I'm sure they did this in a sense, like, okay, Chelsea knows there's a problem within the volleyball team. She's super cool with Big E, knows Big E has influence on the campus.
Oh,
If you're really rocking with me, E, help me get this pushed out. Da 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 da.
Yeah.
Talk to the AD.
Yeah, that's something my mom was always really good at. Is
Dang.
like, all right, it's kind of like the cool kid tactic. Like, I'm gonna go get cool with whoever I need to be cool with to
Yeah.
infiltrate the group. Because once I infiltrate the group, it's raps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Wow.
raps.
That's a
See,
great
and,
It's
like-
not
point,
anything
bro.
yet I was ever.
But I think
Group
too,
of old
it
dudes.
depends on like
Huh?
No, that.
it depends on the person and how you're navigating it, right? So
Mhm.
like, for example, like that, it actually fits like with our scenario, right? Like our coach was just not a good coach. He was also
Mhm.
very, very old. He's just, you know what I mean? But like, didn't really know the game. But he was also just kind of a crappy person.
Yeah.
And so like my
That's the worst.
captain went to like the ADs and talked to whoever she needed to talk to, and that was the person that was like, well, you all need to come together as a team in order for it to be like valid, right?
Mhm.
He got mad at a game one time and like
Yes.
snapped off, and
Yeah.
like I don't know who was there,
It was
whatever.
the AD. I
Yeah,
snapped
the
on the
AD was
AD.
there, and they got like brand new everything after that, and like you know what I'm saying. All it took was one person snapping
Right.
off and voicing their opinion, but like we have to come together.
Yeah.
And dealing with the same person, so it very much so. I think it just depends on who you're dealing with,
Right.
because it would be nice if it was as simple as like, all right, we'll go get connected with this person, but
Right.
like for us, it's like, well, you got to take these 5 steps, and them they just got to
Right.
take
It
one.
would take
Yeah.
And I
that.
feel like even too, I mean, that's also a different. Because you got to think, man, like, I think it's going to change. Like, you'll see change with all this stuff probably over the span of like the next 20 years. But you have to think most
think
of the
so?
people. Yeah, because they're like the generation that's coming up, even like our generation, I think we view things a lot differently. You
Yeah.
got to think like
Yeah.
the powers that be right now, bro, like, they're like, they grew up in like,
man.
I do.
We selfish, see.
No, but this is the thing though, is that everybody, I think, I'm holding out the hope that, because before they came up with a system where like most of coaches, ADs, all those dudes are like in their 60s and 70s, bro. Like
Exactly,
they don't think
yeah.
women have
Oh,
voices.
it's new.
Yes.
Yes, and
It's like
so
it's like dealing
like
with
August.
politics.
yeah,
you
bro.
know.
Like it doesn't.
Like
It's like a
August,
new wave. Like you'll see
New
that once
wave.
this
When
next
he get the
generation kind of
AD.
steps in. Like y'all actually, and even our generation, I think we give more of a shit about causes
Yeah.
than what they did, or at least even if we don't really like. Well, I think for the most part, we'll at least allow you to voice.
We
your
about to.
opinion.
It's about to shift. We about
Yeah.
to shift this.
It's
Yeah.
already
Or
shifting.
us. This
Yeah,
our
that's what
group.
I'm saying, bro.
It's been
'cause-
shifting.
And I
But
think
again, we
it's-
gotta wait
okay.
for that other generation to just pass. You know what I
No,
mean?
no, no. And I think it's bigger too than like you said. Like I don't think it was so much Kobe passing being catalyst. Like that definitely was a thing, but I think that it's this idea of like needing a man's approval, right? And that was the biggest thing I think for women, is that regardless of whether Kobe passed or not, Kobe was giving validation
Yeah.
to these things, and these
Everybody,
other
yeah.
male athletes are now giving validation to these things, which is why people are like, all right, well, let me listen, because they want to listen, so let me listen. And like, it's cool. There's
But
advancement.
in and
There's
of
change.
itself, it's
but
shitty because
yeah, like it
a
feels
guy has to give me
patronizing.
a
You
stamp.
know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
Like it feels very patronizing.
Yeah.
Y'all, I know no cap. I gotta go Colton outside real quick.
Colton.
Um,
Colton,
Yeah. he was coming to meet me at like 1:30.
All right.
So
You just want to run down there.
yeah, I'll be right back. But he was
I'm
calling me
hungry.
like crazy.
That debate, yeah. But you know how they always talk about like the wage gap between female athletes and male athletes, and obviously is absolutely ridiculous. But I also get frustrated at times because it's like, okay, like this one particular team isn't pulling in enough money to justify paying. You know what I mean? Like paying like, and I think that's gonna shift too. Now that like, I don't know. I think with people putting more focus on like women's sports and stuff like that. But yeah, bro, when you look at like, all right, like the Golden State Warriors organization is worth, I think, $5 billion. So for them to pay somebody $100 million is like, oh, whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? But when you look at an organization that like, like a WNBA team that maybe brings in $100 million, you can't then justify like, oh, I'm gonna pay these players like that astronomical price
Yeah,
because
that's
that would literally break them.
half
you know
our
what I'm
budget.
saying?
That's
Like,
partially true, but at the same time, you're not putting in the same marketing effort either. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I'm not saying that, oh, we need to be getting paid the exact same depending on the circumstance. I get that part plays into it, right? Business is business. But at the same time, if you know that this organization is worth $5 billion, you can also allocate those funds a little bit different and market your females a
but they
little
don't
more.
own that team.
Huh?
They don't own. That's like it's not like the NBA.
No,
team
I
owns the
get that,
WNBA
but
team.
I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? Or, like, get your guys on board to, like, help promote that. So
Yeah.
then things can balance out
Right.
a little more. You know?
That's what,
but
yeah.
whatever.
That's where the shift's starting to come in now with like
Yeah.
Chris Paul and those
Exactly.
guys. Which that's what I think the biggest frustration, outside looking in, from my standpoint is where like it's not even a matter of the pay necessarily, but it's like there's support is free. Like, and that's with being like a small business owner. That's with being a podcaster. That like anything in that regard, it's like, bro, you see your homegirl is a hooper. You seen that she just put out a mixtape, but you'd rather post Ball is Life, dude, Sharif
Wow.
Cooper.
I feel
Like,
like-
you don't even know,
I
dude.
feel like we used to do
Yes.
that more like in high school than we do once we get out of high school. Because like
Yeah.
think about like the best female hooper at your high school. I just feel like at least when I was in high school, like all the dudes would go and like hype her up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like be like going crazy for her on the sideline, and then once you get to college, it just kind of like tapers.
Yeah.
off.
That was the
Yeah.
crazy thing for us. We had Bryce Nixon. She ended up going to U of A. Now she's at.
We wasn't really hyped.
Yeah, we weren't like we
Yeah.
didn't watch the girls. Well, we couldn't because we had the games at the same day. But like, the school wasn't supporting the girls until they
was
made it
rocking
to
with us.
state. Yeah,
Yeah.
until they made it to state.
Yeah.
They ended up making like we were number 2 in the state. They were number 2 in the state. But all you heard was boys basketball.
Yeah.
Da, 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 da.
This is their year.
Yeah, this
I,
the
I
year.
always say that it's not about in regards to any of this stuff. It's not about equality, it's equity, right? What's fair, not what's equal, what's fair, right? And right now, the issue is that it's not equal, and that's okay. That like to an extent, that's okay, but it's also not fair. So it'd be different. The argument on that end would be a little bit stronger for men if we had, sort of like a to an extent even playing field, but we don't.
Right.
No,
You know what I'm saying?
it's not even.
Yeah, we have to wait for your approval, and like
Yeah.
that sucks.
Yeah, and to any female athletes, any females in general out there listening to this, don't forget your power. Like, yes, I know that y'all go through extra steps and that can be daunting, but the readings and research that I've been doing lately, like from the base of spirituality and how like obviously like the woman holds life. Like you have literally a human right there. It's inevitable women run the world. So never, ever, ever, ever forget your power. Ever.
We talked about that too.
Yeah.
When we were talking about like the concept of like God, like why is everything on this earth is female that gives life, but then we put this label on God being a man.
Him,
Like, make
yeah.
that make sense. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You got Mother Nature, you got all, and I'm not saying that I think God is or whatever the source is evolved much higher than having a gender.
Right, than having
or
a gender,
sex,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but I'm just saying it's just weird how like thinking about when society was created and the people, the powers that be, are like, well, yeah, like your mother brought you into this world. We call this Mother Nature. It gives life to everything, but
Men run it.
Man has to be behind this in some way. It's like, no,
Shit
bro,
is
like it don't make no
bullshit.
Or
sense.
has to be controlling it somehow.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
Bullshit.
there's no way she could organize this by herself. Somebody had to tell her what to do. Like, that's
Wow.
crazy.
Hey, that's
Like, hell yeah, she did.
That's crazy. Like,
To
yeah.
yeah, that is. It's like
It's
It's
messed
bold.
Bro.
It's bold. It's
It's
like,
hella
dang,
bold.
the audacity.
But
Y'all
it's
are
always,
really
it's
bold.
just
Like,
so blatant. Like, when you look at the stuff that's wrong in this world, it's just so blatant that, like, it's almost, you can't even comprehend it.
Yeah.
Like, they put everything directly in our face,
Pop.
and we're just like, oh, well, that's
Okay.
just how it is.
That's just
Okay.
how it is. Yeah.
Wrapping,
Yeah, bro.
wrapping up, Chelsey. What would you say in your life was the biggest thing you would say when you having a relationship, whether it's friendships, husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, that is important?
I think the biggest thing is probably trust. You know what I mean? Like you can love somebody to death, but like, do I trust you? You know what I'm saying? Or like you have, especially when it comes to like family members, right? Like, yeah, I love you, but I don't trust you as far as I could throw you. You know what I mean? And I think that's sort of like whether we realize it or not, that's sort of the basis of every sort of relationship. That's how it transitions into love, right? Is can I trust you?
Wow.
And in every aspect, and even like with friends, like can I trust you to be there for me as a friend, and whatever. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah. Well, we'll wrap it up on that. That was powerful.
Yeah.
Jeez.
This is great, though.
Man, we appreciate y'all so much, man. This was so fun. I like this whole time. I was just listening. Like,
Yeah.
I know, man. Because I was just saying that like you got a interesting story. We was talking about the recruit and stuff. I was like, why are we not talking to this man?
that's
like,
probably in another 100 episodes.
Yeah. That's his own little mini series. Like,
We'll save that for Saturday.
Yeah, this was about y'all, man. Shoot. James, it was a great one.
It was a great one.
Love y'all, man.
Wait, do we have a business to shout out?
Oh yes, definitely. Let's go.
Who's business ever shout
Green CMOS right there on at the bookstore. That's crazy. I can't think of it. You just went there this past weekend with your
The
mom.
name of the bookstore or the name of the CMO?
No, the name of the store.
Oh, shout out Grassroots
I was
Bookstore.
gonna say,
Grassroots.
Grassroots.
Shout
I was
out.
thinking about
Grassroots.
I didn't know the name of the CMOS, but
Yes.
shout out Grassroots Bookstore, Black owned. It's a great peer ran space. You can go in there, work, go in there, read. What else? do you
What's
need?
the
We just got
location?
Giselle a
we
book.
just bought some books from there.
What's the
Put it up for her
location? Oh my goodness, man.
What?
Well, I thought
Just look
On
up.
the
Just
spot.
look up.
We
But-
all have phones.
But it
Like,
is,
just-
it
No,
is
the
very
reason-
unique,
'cause-
so just look up Grassroots because it's a very unique space. For
Yeah.
sure,
Okay.
For what it is.
It's on
It's not hard to find.
Washington or Jefferson. It's in between the two, Washington and Jefferson. On what street is that? Nah, it's not
You
Central.
just gonna look at
Yeah.
it.
But is
Yeah,
it
like Third
downtown?
Street.
Why are we
Yeah,
doing
it's
that?
like downtown.
But love you guys. Thank you guys for supporting, and we're gonna continue to just share experiences and stories.
Yes, sir. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, peace.
Peace out.
Oh, we need a picture.